I got a distressed call from a new client because NABH rejected their hospital's license on day one. And that was not because of the equipment or the staffing, it was because of the corridor width. 8 lakh rupees of interior work got torn out and redone because somewhere on the drawing board a 2.1 meter corridor got approved instead of 2.4 meter. 30 centimeter, that is the gap between a hospital that opens on schedule and the one which gets delayed by next 5 months. By the end of this video, you'll understand 5 things that quietly decide if a hospital design works long before anyone talks about the beds, the equipments, or how the facade will look. Most architects get the elevation right and the functions wrong. But today we are going to flip that order. We're going to talk about the functions and then the elevations, because the boring stuff, the zoning, the corridor width, the ceiling height, that is the thing which actually gets you in the problem or saves you from the problems. First, zoning. Every hospital has three kinds of movement happening at once: patients, staff, and material. And the biggest design failure I see again and again is letting these three cross path where they shouldn't. Look at this. Your OT block, your ICU, your isolation wards. These are your clean aseptic zones. Your OPD, your admin block, your visitor lobby. These are your public zones. The moment your visitor corridor crosses path with your OT supply corridor, you have created an infection control problem on paper before a single patient walks in. I had audited a project where the original layout had the soiled linen trolley route passing directly behind the OT scrub area. Nobody caught it on the plan until we visited the site and we had to redesign the entire service corridor after the slab was cast. Second, orientation. This is India specific and it's the one thing render driven design completely ignores. Most of our climate zones favor an east-west long axis, minimizing the harsh east and west sun on patient wards while letting you control north light into nurse stations and OPD waiting areas. Get this wrong and you are not just uncomfortable, you are paying for it every single month. I have seen hospitals where AC load could have been cut by one third just by rotating the block 90 degrees at the sketch design stage. This cannot be fixed at the finishing stage. That's a design decision you make in week 1. Third, and this is where our opening statement comes back in. Corridor width isn't a suggestion. The National Building Code requires a minimum of 2.4 meter clear width on patient care corridors, wide enough for two stretchers to pass with staff alongside. Fire refugee areas, two staircase accesses, ramp gradients for stretchers and trolleys. None of this is negotiable, and none of it should be an afterthought bolted on a finished plan. Fourth, floor to floor height. In a hospital, this is not decided by structure, it's decided by ducting. The HVAC, medical gas lines, drainage, all stacked into that ceiling void. A typical commercial floor might get away with 3.6 meter floor to floor height. A clinical floor in hospital needs closer to 4.2 to 4.5 meters clear because of everything that is hiding above that false ceiling. Architects who copy commercial floor heights into a hospital building brief are setting themselves up for a services clash that could be 6 months into construction. Here is what I actually think. Most hospital projects in India do not fail because of the architects. They fail because they are treated like any other commercial project, with the code and the compliance is bolted at the end of the project rather than being the central consideration during the planning stage itself. I would rather spend 3 extra weeks on zoning diagrams and corridor sections rather than spending 3 crores on fixing a non compliant operation theater block after handing over the project. I'll say this very directly. If your hospital design process is starting from the facade, you are designing it backwards. So, here is the recap: zoning, orientation, code compliance, and services coordination. These are the things that will actually make or break your hospital design, not the facade. Get these things right first, and then everything follows. If you are working on a healthcare project and you are stuck on a compliance issue, refuge area, fire escape, corridor width, or any other issue, drop it in the comments. I read each and every one of them. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.